All right, so the recording started on my end, so you should all see that this is being recorded. There was one person that registered that said, I can't make it, but please record this for me because I'd like to hear about it. So that's why I'm doing that. But just as introductions, uh, I'm Arlen Roth. I'm one of your co-leaders with the Pennsylvania Google Educator Group. This is actually a new role to me. Corey had been handling that for quite a while, I'll let her say. But I work as an instructional technology specialist at Bellefonte Area School District. We're right in the middle of the state, just north of Penn State. And we've been in person since we started school, and so far so good. But we have some students are hybrid by the parents' choice, and we are definitely working with teachers and telling them prepare to be remote, prepare to work with remote learning with little or no notice. So that's me. I guess next, either Corey or Jen.
Jen, you can go next if you want.
All right, sounds good. Hi, I'm Jen Tamberlin. I am from St. Mary's. I teach with Heather. Hi, Heather. And I am an instructional technology coach and a Spanish teacher. We have been going 5 days a week since the end of August with quite the increased enrollment in our cyber program, which I coordinate, and actually Heather does some of our math classes for us. And so far, so good. We try to promote the, getting prepared for virtual, but some of the challenges that we're facing are we weren't a one-to-one district yet, and 200 of our cyber students took 200 devices out of classrooms. So teachers that actually were used to having a class set of iPads or Chromebooks now have less, perhaps a half a set or have to share a set. So it's very difficult to prepare for virtual and to put things online when you don't have the resources that you're used to. So that's a challenge that we're facing. Corey, you're up.
All right. All right, I'm Corey, and I apologize for being without a camera on right now, but I am actually driving home. And I'm on Bluetooth, so I'm listening to you guys, but I'm not actually visually participating in the Hangout, so I apologize for that. But I have been one of the leaders of the GEG since about 2015. I have watched some other leaders leave and other people like Jen and Arlen step up to help. And it is an amazing group, and the stuff that comes out of the collaboration is amazing, so I'm really excited. About myself a little bit, I left the classroom last year and became a full-time tech coach. So I actually work with a lot of the different school districts in the Philadelphia region, and I've been doing some webinars out toward Pittsburgh as well. So I pretty much worked with the entire state at this point. And besides my Google Education group, I'm also a regional director for PACT. I love ed tech, so all ed tech. All right, I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to let Arlen talk.
Thank you. Heather, do you want to go next?
Sure, I'm Heather. Like Jen said, I work with her in St. Mary's. I teach math, computer science, and do some of the virtual math classes as well. I'm currently in Code.org's discovery classes, which is a little challenging because it's all online and it's meant for in person. So, but we're working through it.
Thank you. Lilia. All right, I'm not sure. Yeah, if you're connected, and oh, there I see you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I didn't realize I would be giving an introduction. I'm Lilia. I'm a product manager on Google Classroom, and I kind of joined the session because I just wanted to kind of listen in and hear more about how teachers are and educators are kind of operating over the course of this school year.
I'm glad you're joining us.
Very cool. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know when May sent the information, she said, there won't be a representative from Google available in every session, but they'll get to as many as they can. And that pretty much sums up why we're here, to get successes and challenges, and also, what teachers are doing with Google products. So let's start with, I have a Jamboard, and this was new to me. I put the link in the chat, and so it should allow you to edit. So go ahead and go to the chat and find that link. Oh, good, I see someone already did. So if you can't edit that, let me know. But either insert an image, draw an emoji. This was something that I just saw. Someone shared, I think yesterday on Twitter. They were using this as a good example to help increase some engagement with students that are working remote. And then it also covers as a check-in, just how are you doing today? So good, I see an anonymous leopard, so I'm assuming that means the link works. But that was something that I just saw this last week for our domain, and I did cheat. When I did my smiley face, I tried to draw it first, and I had a real hard time. So then I used the circle tool and then drew it. But still, I feel like the students would be much better at this than me.
I defaulted to the clip art.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, good. I also see anonymous hamster joined, which I like. I have a Google form with emojis that I use with teachers sometimes for training, and then also some of them, I told them to feel free to copy it for morning check-ins, and a lot of them do the, is there anything else you'd like me to know? So that, that's something they've used face-to-face, but it's also a valuable tool when they're working remotely. And some of our teachers, they use that as their attendance for the students that are working from home. All right, I switched to the second page of that jam, which I'm assuming you probably need to click that yourself to go to the next one. I'll put the arrows at the top. So we're going to start with success stories. So we talked a little bit, Jen and I said some of the things that are happening in our schools, what's going on. So I'm going to let someone else go first. And what are you seeing that's working well for you, for students? And I know that most of us get to see multiple classrooms. Corey sees multiple districts, so now we have access to a lot of teachers and students. What seems to be working well?
I'll start by saying, in general, just having the Google Classroom platform and becoming super familiar with it from the spring for a lot of teachers who perhaps weren't. It's working really well for absenteeism. So, we're always being able to catch students up as we have, increased absentees due to COVID, that they're able to stay on track and still interact with the class and be back on pace when they come in. So that definitely is an advantage that teachers are taking in light of the situation.
And Classroom is something that we've been encouraging teachers to use.
I think that's one of the best things about the collaborative. Everyone can kind of still work together even though they're not in the same room.
Yeah, when school closed last spring, my district required teachers to use Classroom, and that's when I found out how many teachers have not been using it. That was rough, trying to help a teacher that had never used Classroom before remotely. So when we came back in August, everybody knew the expectation is everyone will use Classroom. That's where information assignments will be put out. So that's definitely been a success for us. Just like Jen said, of getting that information to students that are either home because they're hybrid or home because they're absent for some other reason.
In our district, I think, too, another success story is from being remote, from absenteeism, in fear of being hybrid, teachers are actually becoming more innovative because it's so much of a pain to put the standard worksheet online that they'd rather ditch it and do something more creative, which ultimately benefits the students as it promotes critical thinking and collaboration. So that's been a win for us.
Jen, I definitely think we need to take that statement you just made and turn it into a GIF for the Twitter account. because that was like beautiful.
That was. And yeah, I see the same that last year, teachers were strongly encouraged to collaborate. We have 4 elementary schools, and usually the 4 schools, they teach the same content, they teach the same standards, but they wouldn't work together to get materials and resources. Or last spring they did, and that definitely carried into the school year. That yeah, they've become very creative, looking for things that would work for students at home, finding ways to adapt things to work better in an online format. But yeah, innovation and collaboration have definitely been successes.
I'll also add that teachers, perhaps before shutdown in the spring, were very hesitant to create their own videos. They were trying to be perfectionist when they made videos, and then it would take too long, or they were afraid to have themselves on camera because it wasn't so common. But now teachers are really putting themselves out there because they've heard from the community in our area, especially when we were remote and with our virtual program. The students want to see your face, even if you're doing asynchronous learning. They want to see their teacher. There is a sense of community, even if it is asynchronous, when you can see and hear from your teachers. And I think the teachers feel the same way. In our district, well, we're wearing masks, so it's very hard to read the students' reactions to the content. As a classroom teacher, it is very hard to see if they're understanding. So a lot more teachers are leveraging some video tools like Flipgrid to get those responses, those creative responses back. So that's yet again another win and I'm sure the two of you, shutdown has really been beneficial for instructional technology coaches. If teachers had support, it could have been a nightmare. But as long as the district provided those supports for the teachers, it really has been a win.
Now, have you guys been playing with the closed captioning at all, like built into Google Slides and built into Meet and all of that? Because it's incredible with the way the masks just kind of like muffle the sound of voices a little bit. Even just having that closed caption, even if your students don't have a hearing disability, that's helping a lot of students too, because it's picking up what they might have missed.
That's an excellent idea. I definitely use closed captioning. I actually have my students experiment with closed captioning in Spanish so that they can check their pronunciation out and see how it sounds, because it's exceedingly accurate. I'm very surprised. I'm actually watching it now that you mentioned it. I turned it on. It's just everything. So it's really fantastic. But I like that idea. I would like it for my students, because I have trouble hearing my students when they're on their masks. So I find myself, we're a deskless classroom, so thank goodness I can just get to them very quickly. But then I feel like I'm not abiding by 6 feet because now I'm very close to them. But that closed captioning would be a great option.
I tried it out during training last spring when I was using Meet. I don't know if teachers are using it now that we're back, but yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, because there definitely been concerns with students hearing clearly, students at home hearing. I think the other success for us, when we closed school last year, at first we did not send Chromebooks home. And initially it was a no contact, so we didn't feel comfortable doing that. But then after a couple of weeks, we realized there was no way we could effectively educate our students without providing them with their Chromebooks. So that was a success for us, of just having one device for every student. And this year, the understanding is, if there's a situation that we go remote, every student is taking their Chromebook home, or we're gonna get it to them. We're not gonna wait, or say, in the past only our high school students are taking them home. So this year, all of our secondary students take them home, and elementary will take them home, if school closes.
It has forced our district to push for one-to-one. We were not one-to-one before, and now we are trying to be, but it is terribly difficult right now to order devices and get them in. We ordered some perhaps in August, and we're still waiting. November, December will be the earliest, and we just did a bid for another 250 more, and we would be fortunate to get them before the end of the year. So the district is willing to invest in it at this point, which is great. And the challenge is trying to find devices that can be delivered.
Yeah, that moves us right into challenges. Yeah, we had the same problem. We had Chromebooks for kindergarten. We ordered regular Chromebooks for ninth grade and fifth grade. They came on time. We're ready for the first day of school. We were about a week before school started, and the MIS department said, we don't have any Chromebooks for kindergarten. So our guys really worked hard, and they went through our old Acer Chromebooks and got 200 of them ready for the incoming kindergarten, made sure they all had keys on them, really did the best they could. And then the new Chromebooks just came in about a week ago, but we didn't really have a solid delivery date. I was told it could have been as late as November. So yeah, even when you order devices, just not getting them delivered was really a big challenge this year. I think I'll finish with our challenges. So another one we had is lack of high-speed connection at home. In rural Pennsylvania, and I'm sure, Jen, you see the same thing. We have teachers, our previous superintendent, our superintendent last spring, she would get dropped from video calls, and she doesn't live that far out, but high-speed internet is very spotty. And for teachers that were trying to deliver content and trying to do video calls with multiple students and students trying to do their work, that was a big problem, and it still is. I think the district was able to use some of our CARES money to purchase some hotspots, but there are also some places where you don't get cell service.
Arlen, I have a resource for you about hotspots. They end up being $10 a month for unlimited data for schools. So remind me to give you that.
Yeah, we had some students, they were stuck, they couldn't get internet and they also couldn't get cell service.
So that is something that, because certainly up where I live, there are many places where there is no cell service and internet service is lacking. There are some federal programs that are working on that right now, but certainly a challenge. And then when winter would come, that would create even a bigger challenge as students won't be able to travel to perhaps neighboring homes or neighboring towns as easily. But something I'm looking forward to, and maybe I missed it, I'm going to take advantage of Lilia being here to say something, that how we can do a nice backup for a lot of our Google Drive and Google Docs syncs. It would be nice to have a backup for Google Classroom. Do you know anything about that yet, Arlen? I don't think that's in the work, where the student could sync their Google Classroom before going home.
No, I don't. We have the setting that turns on the offline access for Drive for students, but I haven't really tested it out. And I know with some of those things, it works best if they open it at school first and then go home. But yeah, I don't have anything specific with Classroom. Oh, Heather's back.
How was open house?
Mrs. DePrater couldn't get her microphone to stay on. I don't know. Something was going on with her Google Meet. We didn't even get to talk.
Oh.
It's okay. Like, she was really trying. She felt bad, but you could tell.
But we'll see it tomorrow.
You'll see her tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Heather, we were talking about success stories, and then we just started talking about challenges. And Jen and I both mentioned lack of high-speed internet at home, and some places lack of cell service. You mentioned a good one of not being able to keep the microphone turned on. Last year with remote, that was probably one of the biggest frustrations, that a teacher would say, one student couldn't hear me. And they're in their house using who knows what device. Everyone else could hear and see the teacher, one student couldn't. But yeah, trying to troubleshoot video calls when students were at home was really frustrating. So I don't know if you thought of anything else that are challenges this year or challenges last year.
The biggest challenge is math, is like having the students be able to show work with different forms of technology that they were using. Not everyone has a Chromebook where they can write And so using the mouse even, and like, for example, right now I'm on my Apple computer talking to you. I have a trackpad. So it's hard to write with. When I write for things for school, I use my Surface, which has a stylus. But so that is my biggest challenge, is like how to get them to be able to show work, which is a big thing in math, and be able to read it and not them get frustrated.
Oh, go ahead, Corey. I think you're still muted.
I was still muted. I said, I think you're not the only teacher still having that issue for math, but that is a really good point as well.
So I saw some of our 4th and 5th grade teachers, they are using Google Slides, and they have directions on there for what the students are doing, but they're actually having the students take a picture of their math work and include it in their slides and submit it. And they're doing that even with the students that are face-to-face. I think they wanted to teach the students how to do that. So and the teachers tell me to stop saying when, but say if we go to remote learning, they'll know what to do. But it's not ideal. It's a little slow, and they have to deal with the whole thing of hold it straight, hold it so I can see it. The students they kind of have it down, but I know for some of our primary grades, yeah, they're really struggling with that of how do you see their math work? Or I saw one group of students, they were working in Seesaw, and they were working on doing some of their letters, but instead of writing them on paper with a pencil, they were tracing them on their touch screen with their finger, which that's, to me, that's a completely different skill to learn if you're learning to write your letters.
Yeah, I agree. And the picture, I have had students take a picture, but it is a skill they need to learn, is to like make sure that before they submit it, that it's actually readable. And that's hard because some of them, you can't read their handwriting in person.
That's really true. I really like sometimes that we were able to use some video recording apps where maybe the students can talk through the problem a little bit instead of showing it. And I do see some teachers in our district that are taking advantage of that after the spring, but it still doesn't meet that challenge of watching the kids work through the problem in a method that they're comfortable, short of having every student have a document camera to watch them. It is a challenge. And I will tell you, in going one-to-one, one of the things that we are going to have to cut are touch screens. So, that's something to be expected. One of the ways we were able to go one-to-one is if we stopped purchasing flip touchscreen devices. So it's unfortunate for math, but it is fortunate that everybody's getting a device. And I guess that's the pro and the con of that.
I mean, I make it work.
Oh, sorry, Heather.
It's a challenge.
I don't want to keep you long. It's been 25 minutes. The main things we're talking about, successes and challenges. Jen and Corey, I was taking some notes as the Google tools were mentioned, but maybe that's something we can look at and follow up to see, what tools I missed. But is there anything else that anybody wants to share or questions for Lilia?
I can't think of any specific questions, and it's so awesome that we have her here to listen. I wish I could think of something.
You would have came with a list.
I know we would have come up with a list specifically about classroom if we had known.
Classroom is doing some great things. I mean, I love the to-do list, or to review rather, for the teacher side. That's been working out really well for teachers managing work, especially when remote. So I have to give kudos to the to review list, and even the students being able to see on the tiles. I'm not sure when exactly that came about, but what's coming up in each class. Because that's always a feedback of mine, is that when they log in, and perhaps where have I seen this before? Maybe Canvas in some graduate classes and things like that. When you see all your classes, that there's just kind of a general stream that gives you the latest information or the things that are due in all of your classes. Just kind of a nice little summary. And to default to the classwork page.
Yes.
To default to the classwork page. That's probably my number one.
we actually changed the setup for our elementary Chromebooks. We used to have the homepage open to the building's homepage, and the teacher said, "Can you just please have it open to Classroom?" And we changed it, and nobody complained. It was great. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. I'm going to stop the recording.